Start your business for the freedom of time. Now you're tired of the hustle and grind. There's gotta be a better way. It's time to listen to Chill and Prosper. Welcome to Chill and Prosper. You're ready to chill and prosper with Denise Duffield-Thomas.
Hey, friends, it's Denise here, and today's episode I am going through some really juicy questions that have come in from the beautiful community. And as always, if you have a question for us, send us an email. You know, I'm always happy to do it, or you can send me a DM, but email's probably easier, and then my team can put it into the spreadsheet for when I'm next in the podcast studio. So I'm just going to jump in because I just love the questions that you guys send me. And, you know, if you want to not listen to this whole episode and just get the Cliff's Notes, it's usually just do the thing, and everyone feels imposter syndrome, so don't worry about it. Just do the thing. Okay, our first question comes in from Nicola, who is a yoga and wellbeing teacher, and she said, I'm struggling to know the best offer product suite for me and my ideal client. How did you come to the business model All Roads Lead to Money Bootcamp? I'm a yoga and wellbeing teacher and currently trying to figure out if I should niche down to support mums who teach and help them with their wellbeing. So here's the thing with niches, and I know I think Americans say niche. In Australia, we say niche, like quiche. And a niche is what is the little ideal client for you? And sometimes people do it very narrow, and they're like, this is the exact client that I want to work with. Sometimes it's an area, that has particular characteristics, or it's, like a little segment of a population. Here's the thing with that. I sometimes feel like it is absolutely trial and error, and you really don't know until you try sometimes with a niche. I think a lot of courses that you join, business courses, will really ask you to sit down and come up with a person. And that can be really tricky for some people, especially if you're someone who really likes to see all sides of a situation. If you're a bit more of a chameleon and you have a really big heart and you're like, but I want to serve everybody. And that is totally fine. Creating a niche and really creating something specifically for one ideal client isn't being mean. It's just being really clear on what value you can offer people. And it can also help with differentiating you in the market and just being really clear, right? It doesn't mean that other people can't buy from you. It's just that sometimes it really solidifies your message, right? You don't know until you try. Okay. I'm a big proponent in looking at your own money personality, your own archetypes, your own likes and dislikes when it comes to creating your business model, because some things will just not be sustainable for your energy, for your lifestyle. Some things will change over time. Okay, so when I first started out in my business, I did one-on-one coaching. So I was a business coach. Well, started off more as a life coach, actually. And I realized how much I preferred working with entrepreneurs rather than someone who was in a job. Some of that was actually logistics, right? Because a lot of people who are in jobs, they wanted to do their sessions at night, and I did not want to work at night. Okay. And I really liked working with creative entrepreneurs. And I realized early on, I preferred working with women more than men. Sorry, guys. But most of the time I was like, oh, I just find it easier, right, to coach with women. Some people are very someone who can flex their personality. I'm not. I'm like, this is what you get. Right? This is what you get. So it depends on if you're someone who you don't care how you work, or if you're very particular about it, right? So I did one-on-one. When I decided I want to have kids, I was like, oh, this business model doesn't necessarily support that new chapter of my life. And also, I don't have a huge capacity. I could only really do about 5 clients a week before I started to feel a bit frazzled, right? And that was just not a sustainable business model necessarily. It didn't also mean I could make the money that I wanted to make. So I had to make decisions, right? So I was like, okay, I'll only take on clients on bigger packages, and I need to be able to have a group program. So that's when I created my Money Bootcamp program. When I first started that, it was only done live. So 6 weeks live, a call each week. And then I was like, oh, I wanted to do different time zones, so I'll do 2 different calls, right? And so then demand came for that course, and I was like, people wanted me to run it more than once a year. So I was running it 4 times a year. So then a live call every week for 6 weeks, but 4 times a year but the pre and post launch for all of those things and the marketing for it felt so overwhelming for me. So that business model didn't work either. Okay. And so I want you to hear here, I know I'm not solving your problem yet, but your business model has to work for you first. So do you like teaching online? Do you want to just work with a few high-end clients and do yoga for that? Do you want to do group programs? Do you want to have live aspects to the group programs, or do you want it to all be pre-recorded? These are all questions to ask yourself. What would help me thrive in this? Because when we do it customer first, which is how we're often taught to do it, you have so many different customers and all of their preferences. How do you know which ones to honor? You know, and that can be really tricky too, because some people might say, well, I want it like this. And some people might say, I want it like this. And you go, oh, I have to do all of them. So I always just think if you start with yourself first, and then you can reverse engineer your marketing to be like, who would this serve? Right. So if you go, I only want to do videos, I don't want to have any live component with any clients, which is totally valid, by the way. There's no right or wrong way to run a business. Then maybe it's like, okay, are they long videos or short videos? Are they busy professionals? Are they people who need, like they only need to see it once? Or are they people who actually need to do the whole thing with me in a video? And I'll tell you this exactly why I'm saying this, right? Because I bought a dance program recently and her ads were really well targeted. And it was like, fix this one dance theme. And I was like, okay, I'll buy the program. And it was like a DIY 6-week program. So it was like, for the first 2 weeks, do this exercise. But the videos were 9 seconds long. And it pissed me off so much because it was like, she would demonstrate the exercise, right? And she would just be like, that's how you do the exercise, whatever it was. And then she'd stop. And so I'd have to stop it and go, I'd have to rewind and watch it again because it was literally one of them. The shortest one was 5 seconds. I think the longest one was 17 seconds. And I was like, I wish she did the whole thing because she's like, do X amount of reps. And I'm like, so I just have to do it by myself, even though it was a video. I'm like, I have to do this by myself now. And I'm like, I want to email her and say, hey, I love that you've done the short one because it's like great for the instant gratification people. Could you do a version that's like, do it with me? Because I remember being a teenager. I got obsessed with Denise Austin workout videos and I would do it with her. And her tagline, she was like, do it every day, do it with Denise. And I'd be like, I'm doing it with you. We're doing it together. You're my friend, right? And so that's why I was just saying about like, do you want to have them short? Do you want to have them long? Do you want to have it like for a particular niche? And actually Denise Austin, she had like a pregnancy one for a while, right? And she'd have different stages of her life. You know, I think she had like, I don't know, perimenopause one or a menopause one. Like she really showcased a lot of different things. So if it's like, I want to help mums who teach, right? So it's like if you're doing it live, what's the best time for the mums, right? Is it on Zoom? Is it group stuff? Is it on demand? Is it stuff like that's 15-minute workout? You know, is there stuff where it's like using just stuff that you have around the house? Like all of those things are considerations when it comes to designing what the program is and making it feel like it's for them. So I'm struggling to know what the best offer is. Well, I think you can map them all out, right? I like to do a little bit of a matrix and I'm like, okay, is it easy or complicated to make? Is it like, could it be fast or like slow or fast to create? Or like, what's the potential revenue? So it might be easy or hard to create and then like low cost, high cost. And then I map them all out, right? And then it's like, okay, well, that's in the too hard basket, or that feels like it's easy. And then I just pick one and create it. And you don't know until you offer something sometimes, right? So that's all the consideration that comes in my mind when it comes to giving advice to people about what they should create. I always think what works for you first, and then find the audience for that, and then double down on the marketing to show them that it's for them. I hope that helps. I really want to hear your ahas around that too later on. Send me a message. Okay, so Lynn, this is a great question, and you're probably not going to like the answer. Lynn, what has been your biggest return on investment as of yet? What I love about this question, Lynn, too, is sometimes people ask because it's like, you want to know what to spend your money on, or you just like, what's the magic bullet? What's the silver bullet? What's the thing that tipped Denise over the edge? And I honestly think it is all that. I don't think I've ever had a truly bad return on investment, because even things that haven't necessarily made me money have been such a good learning, right? So I'd say all of them. I know I'm not going to like the answer, but also different things at different stages are important. Okay, so in my early days, I feel like I really needed to invest in community, because I needed to be around other entrepreneurs to normalize this conversation, right? I didn't know any other entrepreneurs. My family are not entrepreneurs. I didn't know any women particularly who were in business. And so investing in a course that had a big community part of it absolutely changed my life, because I was like, oh my God, there are other people like me. Okay, that was really important. I've joined a mastermind where I didn't really get a lot out of the community part of the mastermind, but it was like the biggest investment I'd ever made in like the growth of my business, like the start of my business. I learned how to do a sales page. I learned how to like get into action. And even though that business was one of my first businesses and I've literally never used it beyond the first time, I was like, I needed the accountability to get started. That was really important. I've joined like a year-long mastermind where I didn't really get a lot out of the content, but I got so much out of the way of being, of how the leader ran it, and the boundaries she set, and the beautiful way she created it around her family. I got something out of that. I went to a VIP day where the content was not like really that great for me, but it was like one thing she said about how she ran her family life that I went, worth it for me. I'm like, brilliant. I've hired people that didn't work out, but it taught me stuff about, I had to get organized with some of my management stuff, or I realized, oh no, I don't need a person for that. I need to automate stuff. One of my best investments, I think, when I was really in empire building phase, was a lot of help at home, having a full-time housekeeper, which I actually don't have at the moment because she moved away and I have just never replaced her. We just have a regular cleaning company now, but also I'm like, I'm not in empire building phase and I don't need it as much. So it wouldn't be a good investment for me now necessarily, but it was such an important one then, because I needed all of the bandwidth focused on my business and not at home. Whereas it's kind of the opposite now, because my kids are at a stage where they need a lot more of me at home and I'm less in the business. So yeah, it's different things at different times, right? Will be the best. And it will literally be the same investment, but it will just mean different things at different times. I joined like a really high-end mastermind one time, and it was brilliant to show me I didn't need it. Isn't that funny? But it did up-level me at the time. And then when it came around to do it again, I was like, I actually don't need that right now. So here's my question back to you, Lynn, is what do you need to thrive in the next year? Do you need accountability? Do you need support? Do you need practical tech help? Do you need a get shit done person? Do you need a completer finisher? Do you need a content strategist? Do you need spaciousness to strategize? Do you need to do batch stuff? Do you need someone to do your laundry at home? None of those things are better or worse than other investments, but it is like, what do you need? What do you need right now? Okay. And I think some of it is so much permission and shame, because we think I should be able to do that myself, or other people have got that, and so I should have that. And I kind of did that, I think, when I was in like growth stage of my business, is that I really looked at how much team some other people at my stage of business had, and thought I had to have more team. But I was like, I really don't. It's not I don't want to have a big team, right? So sometimes we are influenced by our peers or our mentors telling us we should do a particular thing when we really don't need that, So yeah, starting, you might need community, you might need just to get stuff done. In growth stage, you might need to clean up some systems. In, like empire building stage, you might need to hire more people. Yeah. That's what I said. You're not going to like the answer, because I'm not going to give you anything good, but hopefully just permission. It's like, What do you need? And ask yourself that too. What do I need to thrive? And it can look completely different from other people. And that's okay. All right. I've got more juicy questions for you after this short break. See you in a sec. And what do you remember about boot camp? What are the lessons that you sometimes learn?
Yeah. Major ones. I think some of the other ladies here said it's the container of the Facebook group, and it's a safe space to talk about money, to be encouraged to talk about money, whether that's debt, leveling up, making $100,000 in a day. Like, I remember showing that post to my husband going, like, this happens. This is real. And seeing that possibility and coming from the mindset of there is endless abundance and the universe is never in recession. And when we see other people do it, it clarifies that it's possible for us. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is that just having a safe space to talk about successes and understanding that we have similar, frustrations and fears and worries about, tax and accountants and all the rest of it. And that mum guilt comes in, and like you mentioned earlier before, and that you've made your bed and you need to lie in it. Well, no, we can pivot and we can change and make our business the best way that it suits us. I think that's one of the biggest. Permission is a big one that I've gotten from your courses, is that it's clarity on that I get to do it my way, and there's no other reason that I need to fit into a box to make anyone else happy. And so I think incremental upgrades has been one of the big ones for me.
Hey, welcome back. I'm answering your business questions today. And this next question comes from Kim, and she's a book strategist. She says, how do you pivot again when your first pivot wasn't successful? Let's talk about one of my favorite entrepreneurs of all time who inspired me so much when I was first starting out, and that is Richard Branson. When I was in my 20s living in London, and I desperately wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't really know that many entrepreneurs, I would just gobble up any business book that felt in alignment with who I was, right? So I didn't like the very serious kind of business books. So when Richard Branson released his book, and I was just so inspired by the creativity and his personality and the maverick kind of personality and the scrappiness of it. And when you follow his career, he's had so many failed businesses, and a lot of the businesses didn't have anything in common except for the name, right? So he obviously started his airline, which, by the way, he started because he was stranded at an airport, and he was like, I wonder if I could just hire a jet and charge other people here. And so he was like, Virgin Airlines. And that's how he started his airline, and obviously the record company and stuff like that. But a lot of his businesses were just like, I wonder if I could do this better. I wonder if I could do this. This sounds like a great niche. Let's try it. So for a while, he had Virgin Brides, and Virgin Brides was, I think it was bridal stores. It was just literally bridal stores, right? Selling wedding dresses. I can't remember if they did anything else like planning or anything. He had Virgin Cola. So it was just like cola with Virgin on it. I can't even remember all of the different kind of businesses, and some of them have succeeded and continued. Like, I think Virgin Mobile is still a thing, Virgin credit cards, all those things, but there would be so many failed businesses. I think there was Virgin Cosmetics for a little bit too, right? So the reason why I say this is because for some entrepreneurs, variety is the spice of life. And for some entrepreneurs, you will not be able to help yourself from making pivots. And having failed businesses is just part of the life of an entrepreneur. Having things that don't quite work out is just part of the experience. However, it's what do you make that mean? What do you make that mean about yourself? So sometimes you make it mean that you're a failure, that you're a flake, that you're not meant to be successful in business, that you don't know how to run a business, whatever it is, right? Or you can see each of those things as, oh, wow, this is a stepping stone. Oh, wow, I learned something from that. Now, one of my first online businesses, which was a coaching program for women who wanted to lose weight for their wedding with raw food, called Raw Brides. I had one person on that program and then I didn't run it again, right? So some people might think that's a failed business. I learned so much from that business. I learned how to do a sales page for the first time. I learned how to run webinars. I learned how to put together a handout. I learned how to do videos. I learned how to write a curriculum. And that can never, ever, ever be taken away from you. So even if you go into a completely different business, there will be skills that you'll have forever, right? And I always think of those things too, of like, how can you make lemonade out of those experiences? How can you use that as an example? How can you use it in a book? How can you use it in a speech? How can you use it in a podcast? And what lessons did you get out of that? Okay, and what can you use that for? So how do you pivot again when your first pivot wasn't successful? Just do it again. And when I stopped writing about raw brides, I literally sent an email and said, hey, I'm actually going to be starting to talk more about personal development. So, if you don't want to listen to that, you can unsubscribe. No worries. Otherwise, this is what I'm going to be talking about going forward. I didn't apologize. I literally just said, this is what's going to happen. And it's your choice if you want to come with me on the journey or not. And I still have people on my newsletter list, not very many, from those days. Also, I think too, in some of our early pivots, we think it's such a big disaster and not many people actually saw it. So not many people on my newsletter list would remember that I had a soulmate course for a little while. And I literally did a live program where it was like manifesting your soulmate. And most people wouldn't remember that, right? Because it was just like not many people were watching. It's a distant memory. I had a book for a while of like, Get Hitched, Lucky Bitch. And occasionally, if you're in my boot camp, I think I've got a link to it there. But like, who cares? No one thinks of that. And so the things that are for you, they will be the things that become successful, right? And it's okay just to let things die on the vine sometimes. You can close things down. You can have a closeout sale. You can move on anytime you like. That's the beauty of being a creative person. How do you deal with the internal feelings though? Is I think I think an affirmation that really helped me a couple of years ago was, I am a creative genius. It sounded so up myself. It sounded arrogant, but it is true. I am a creative genius. I love creativity. I love thinking of new things. And to honor that instead of making it blaming myself and going, oh God, I can't believe you're doing this again, has really freed me up, not only to be creative in my business, but to be creative in other ways that aren't my business. So I make dance costumes, I thrift things and make silly things out of it. Sometimes I share it on social media, sometimes I don't. But that is part of being a creative person, is that you need to have an outlet for it sometimes. And so forgive yourself. I think a really nice ritual would be, maybe if there's things that remind you of your failure and you feel bad about them, burn them, throw them out, get rid of them. Donate them, just let them go and create fresh energy for the new business as well. Forgive yourself for it. Thank you for that question, Kim. Love it. Okay, Marion. Okay, I'm a dog trainer. Yay, I love dog trainers. I'm well qualified. However, spending a lot of money over the last 5 years on getting accreditation and CPD. Okay, yep. However, I regularly suffer from imposter syndrome and feel like I need to keep buying more courses, I know where this is going, and webinars, which actually I often don't watch, or that I watch and think, I already know this. I'm wasting my money on things I don't need when I should be using it to develop my business in a way that brings me more money, i.e. SEO, marketing, online course I want to create. Help. Oh, I love this question so much, Marion. Thank you so much for sending this one in, because I have hired a dog trainer several times. I have never once asked their qualifications. Never. I've never asked them, can you show me your certificate from the Dog Training Institute? I don't even know if there is such a thing. I just know I asked someone, hey, my dog's doing this in a local group. And they said, oh yes, you have to talk to this lady. And I hired her and she was great. And then when we got our next dog, we hired her again. And then when one of my dogs was not walking on a lead properly, we hired her again. I've never asked for her certificates once. So this is a very particular personality type I think I come across in business, where they collect certificates. Sometimes it's an accumulator personality, because it comes from a place of like, I must be so thorough. Sometimes it's a nurturer personality type where they're like the imposter syndrome and like, I have to just cover everything. Sometimes it's an alchemist personality type where they're like, I want to know all the things, right? I want to know all of it. And it becomes a procrastination. And so I regularly suffer from imposter syndrome. And here's the thing, you cannot certify your way out of imposter syndrome. You cannot certify your way out of imposter syndrome. It will be something that you'll always kind of have to deal with. And once you realize that so many people have it, it's like the most boring thing to have, right? Because everyone has it. And so if you just go, oh, I have imposter syndrome, but that's fine. I'm just going to move forward anyway. And what's going to be hard, because I can hear you saying it already, but Denise, no, but I'm not just going to be willy-nilly and just throw things at the wall like those other entrepreneurs who just do stuff without being qualified. That's not you. That's not you. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry that someone is going to question your ethics, your quality, because they would do that if you have a million certificates anyway, right? Just don't even stress about that. As you said, you know, I'm wasting my money on it when I should be using it to develop my business in a way that brings me more money, SEO, marketing, online course, etc. And so you can just say, I'm not going to buy any more courses. I'm qualified enough. I am enough. I'm qualified enough. I've done enough. I've done enough. And also maybe for you, it's thinking about all the dogs that are suffering because you're not marketing your business enough. And that's how you motivate yourself. You go, I'm going to think about the dogs that really need my help, who are going to suffer because I have imposter syndrome. That might be enough for you to motivate yourself, right? The other thing too is that I think marketing with animals, I think it's just the most fun thing ever, because dog owners love their dogs. They love talking about their dogs. They love sharing their dogs, and they love watching content about dogs, right? And so I have a doggy daycare place that takes our dogs 2 days a week for the day, and they get to go play with all other dogs and stuff like that. And our dogs, they go Wednesday and Friday, and they know when the bus is coming, right? It's not even a regular schedule, right? It's a Wednesday and a Friday. They know, and they get so excited when they hear the engine. But they get excited beforehand, which is really weird, before they even hear it. And I just think all their marketing needs to be, if they had a slow-mo camera and all they did was just film the dogs when they arrived, that would be enough. Like, that's the easiest thing in the world. And they could batch all of that content, because our dogs just lose their shit because they get so excited. And then they just post pictures all day long of the dogs playing, right? It's the only marketing you need. Don't overthink it at all. People love their dogs. People don't know how to train their dogs. You have a solution for it. So create content so people can find you. Like, that's it. I'm just going to tell you, Marion, just do that thing. And you can't get any more qualified. Do it if you want to for fun, but no, ban yourself. Okay. Can't certify your way out of imposter syndrome. One of the reasons why I batch my content is because then it's done. And then if I have a moment of imposter syndrome, it's too late. It's already scheduled. And so I think batching can sometimes really help with imposter syndrome. I'll get someone else to do it for you. And then, yep. Okay. Thank you for that question. Okay. I think I've got time for one more on this. So I'm going to try and find a little one. Okay. Dr. Amina, hi. I'm curious if Denise could speak to asking customers for testimonials for the web page. Some of our customers are part of large organizations and have some red tape around testimonials. A large part, however, is me being shy about asking. Of course it is. Of course it is. I totally understand this, by the way. And so you might be surprised me saying that, because you might have seen a lot of testimonials on my website. I didn't ask for any of them. My team did. So that's a little bit of a clue. If you have a team member, an assistant, or a fake assistant, that can be part of the process that they collect them. Okay, that they collect them. Another thing you can do is, and I don't know how you see your clients, if it's online or whatever, but my online booking system, Calendly, you can schedule reminders to go out before the call, but you can also schedule follow-ups for that. So you could put that, if you've got an autoresponder or something like that, you could just automate that where you ask for a testimonial afterwards. And then you don't even have to do it. The other thing too is make it really easy for people to do. Sometimes if I get sent a questionnaire and it's got a lot of questions or a lot of them are compulsory, my ADHD brain just goes, oh no, I can't do this. No, I can't do it. So I just ask people, make it really, really easy for me. Another thing that's worked really well recently for getting testimonials out of me is that someone will write to me that I've worked with, and they said, oh, hey, Denise, I'd love to get a testimonial for our work together. I've pre-written 2 different options for you based on just things that we've said in our conversation. So feel free to tweak, or you can just choose one. And I appreciated that so much, because you know how many people ask me for testimonials sometimes, and it's a very open-ended, oh, I'd love a testimonial. And I just go, and it sits in my inbox and I feel terrible about it. And then 6 months later, I'll just archive it and I'll just want to vomit. Whereas the person who did that to me, this was only like a week ago, I wrote back and said, yep, the second one, and I've just tweaked it a little bit. Thank you. Oh, game changer, right? And you might think, oh, it's a bit impersonal or whatever, but I think some people really appreciate that. They really do. Another thing is, if you do things in person, you could set up a little booth and you could have a little like prize or something. It's like, oh, go into the booth, and it's really great if you have someone there as well asking questions to them, and they can get a little prize. I was at a conference recently with my friend Tash Corbin, and I said, oh, while we've got the camera here, can I give you a testimonial for the VIP day we did last week? And I felt bad about asking, because I was like, I know you've had the whole day. And she was like, oh my God, thank you for asking me. And I'm like, but can you interview me so I don't just have to talk into the camera? And so she's just like, hey, Denise, what did we do on our VIP day? And we just did it in the moment. So if you spend time with people, like a retreat or something like that, sometimes people do it at the end. Yeah, there's so many different ways that you can do it. And I think you've really hit the nail on the head though, Dr. Amini, is that sometimes we're just too shy to ask. We're too shy to ask. You can also allow people to be anonymous if they're not allowed to put their names to things. You can give people like rules about how best to do it, but most of the time, just asking is the best way to do it. And then you can refine it from there. But just, if you don't ask, you don't get, right? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for sending that question in, Amina. And people love to share. They really love to share and to share their results and stuff like that. And as long as it's permission-based and it's really nice, I think that's really, really great. They want to share and they want to be celebrated. Yeah. You could do something special for some of your clients too. So you could bring people together for a little soiree or something like that, and get them to share that way, depending on what kind of stuff you do. But as a therapist, I think that it can be tricky when people don't necessarily want to put their face to things, if it's something that's they don't want to admit vulnerability. But if as long as you assure people it's anonymous, I think that can be really great too. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. All right, so that's it for today, and yeah, I'll be back after this final thought, so don't go away. Okay, see you in a sec.
And what about boot camp? What's one of the things you've learned from boot camp?
To keep striving.
Yeah.
Those incremental upgrades are tremendous. The abundance, the unlimited abundance. To follow my passions and to feel confident in following them. I think that's probably my biggest takeaways.
Welcome back. After that last one, I said to Josh, I'm like, was that, how many have we done? Because we've been here recording all day. So, okay. My final thought here is, sometimes we just have to ask, right? And we just have to do the thing. So when I was saying like, just ask for the testimonial, like just tell people what you do. It really is that simple. And I think we really do overcomplicate things, don't we? Like we really overcomplicate things, and we make it so hard for ourselves sometimes. And so it's okay just to be honest and go, this is what I need right now. Oh, hey, do you want this thing? Do you want this thing? Okay, no, that's fine. All right, well, I'll try something else. And also to remember that failure is part of business too. and you can always make lemonade out of things. Nothing is ever wasted. And yeah, it's okay for you just to design a business in a way that works for you in the phase of life that you're in right now, knowing that every business has a cycle, and it's not always going to be perfect. You can chop and change and do different things that suit you. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so if you ever have any more questions for me, but also if you're someone who is sending a question and you want to send in a follow-up, I think people would really love to hear that too. So feel free to do that. All righty. Oh, no, one other thing that worked too. At Tash Corbin's conference, she did like a showcase where she had people up on stage to be like, last year you had this problem and now you've changed it. What's changed? And it was a really nice way to showcase like a testimonial, but it was also like kind of a case study. Okay, so Amina, that's for you as well. And I did a similar thing with my books where I got people to submit case studies, which were really testimonials as well. So sometimes that works for different industries, and sometimes it doesn't. People can always be anonymous in that too. Even in video stuff, you can do voice stuff. But yeah, just ask. Okay. All right. I'll see you next week on another episode in Chill and Prosper. Thank you. Bye.
Start your business for the freedom of time. Now you're tired of the hustle and grind. There's gotta be a better way. It's time to listen to Chill and Prosper. Welcome to Chill and Prosper. You're ready to chill and prosper with Denise Duffield-Thomas.